open session public meetings are subject to being recorded. Your voice and image will be recorded. Okay, so we have minutes to approve. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Scott would normally do the one update. Do you have an update from?
We met yesterday.
Which is this?
For the Assabet Regional
Assabet Regional, okay.
Consortium. We mostly had roundtable. There's a lot of projects, large projects happening all around. It seems like many of the towns are starting to approve accessory dwellings as a right.
Mhm.
And some of them are noting that as they start to get into projects, they need to rewrite the bylaw language to include detached accessory dwellings. As just some hiccups were discussed, which were interesting. I don't really relate to a lot of it because they're mostly bigger projects. We discussed an event. I guess they usually, or they're contracted to have events, presentations. There'll be one coming up, but the theme seemed to be focusing on educating people about what affordable housing is. That seems to be ringing all around, that it is in the forefront and the community could use more education on what it is and how it affects them. So we'll see what ends up. It could be a community forum that we're all welcome to. I'm not sure. So we'll see what ideas come out of that. Other than
Do
that,
we know when?
no,
No.
we're just batting around what people might want. So that seemed to be, my guess is that's going to be what it's about. We don't know when. I would think it would be, our next meeting's in March, so April, May-ish.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was about it.
And you said you got a hold of Bread and Roses?
I did. I talked to Anne Mary Connor, who is the executive director. She's only been in that position for less than a year. But she's a social worker. She's been in the housing realm and in the North Shore, northern Massachusetts area for quite a while. She is really interested to hear about us and is excited that we're taking them as a model as we look at doing a down payment assistance program. Their process is really interesting in that, I don't know how much you remember about their rules and documents and things, but they provide a percentage of the cost of what's being purchased, up to $30,000.
So in addition to?
No, as like a part for like as that is what their contribution is. Like, so it's not like we've been talking about a set number, which makes a lot of sense because we don't have a full-time director or anything like. But she like does all of the due diligence, and their process is very similar to a mortgage process in terms of what the data individuals have to provide them to demonstrate need and ability to make payments. They provide applicants with a letter saying they are eligible for this funding, a contingency letter. I have a copy of that letter. I'm just going to collect documents from her. I don't see any need necessarily to give them to everybody like piecemeal, like once we actually start looking at this or moving on it, I'll have those to share. They, like what is it, 48 hours before you actually close on the house, you get those final closing documents, right, that have the amount you're expected to pay and whatnot. she brings a check for 10% to closing. So they are present there at the closing. The home buyer doesn't receive the money. It goes to the escrow lawyer,
Okay.
kind of thing. She says they've never had any issue with the banks. They strongly encourage people to work through Mass Housing and to use one of their approved lenders. She says their folks, depending on what the circumstances are, have also received funding from other housing assistance programs as well. So some people have had their entire down payment covered by state grants and other sources of cash for that initial down payment. So she would be happy to come and talk to us about what they do.
That would be good.
They not only do this down payment plan, they have a rental assistance arm as well. So she would be happy to come when we're ready, when we have more information on what they only work with populations that make up to 100% of the whatever their the median housing. Then these are some pieces, assuming we're going to take this on and move forward with it. We've got a lot of details to work out, and obviously what we need probably doesn't align very well with what Andover needs, kind of thing. But she seems like she's a great resource,
Okay.
And is very interested in hearing what's going on and answering questions for us. So it was
Awesome.
it was really, really interesting.
And I know you were concerned, there's no issue obviously with 40B at all.
Nope.
Because, okay.
Their primary issue is they do not have enough affordable homes for people who want them. The housing stock issue is, we potentially have some properties that we just need to get people into, right? So our problems are different. They have public transportation. Was very excited and energized by my conversation with her.
Yeah, and I'd be interested to see like what kind of contract they have with North Andover too, because the consortium had talked about they'd be happy to do that for us.
Correct, yes.
But we'd have to have some sort of, you do this, you do that, and it
Right.
has to all be in writing, so.
Yeah, I mean, they administer it themselves. They don't have, but Bread and Roses is their own administrator of the project.
Okay.
They request money. I don't understand their process for requesting money. When they know how much they need, they get a check from the town. So I think their funding is different than ours in terms of how they're supported, obviously.
Somehow I got the idea, at least, that there was CPA funds being used, but they could just be taking CPA funds.
The town could just be funneling CPA funds to them
that
through
way,
some
because
other,
that
yeah,
would be an allowable use.
yeah.
Okay.
She reminded us that if we give Habitat any money, we need to be clear if we give Habitat money, if people who were buying Habitat houses would be able to use more town money, as it were, to be involved.
Okay.
But she said she didn't think if we were just doing a land transfer, then that's not cash, right? And that's a different, potentially, does not have the same ramifications as if we are contributing cash to any type of Habitat project. There was.
Okay. The 9 Village Lane, they did vote to waive right of first refusal. There are some issues ongoing with the property. I think the landlords are looking to recoup some of the funds that they have not gotten, which could potentially affect the status of the property, but I don't know that it will.
You mean condo fees that are?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
So
pretty
there- it was
typical
fuzzy.
to lean for those, right?
Yeah, legal was sort of fuzzy on whether they could potentially be taken out of 40B to cover those, but I suspect that that is not where this is going. But it's something to keep an eye on. Kristen will let us know if she has any further information. You saw I had sent over the properties that Habitat is looking at. The one, my guess, is gonna be relatively straightforward because they were looking at that before. But I sent a note over to Kristen just to say, okay, this is looking real. What do we need to do to make sure that we are ready for town meeting?
Mhm.
So she was going to consult legal about the steps that we needed to take. And then those other properties, I think, what I would like is, okay, if this is gonna happen, I would like us to put together a step by step, what happens when we go forward. So we have a process.
I looked at the three of them, and Lancaster Road is a nice site, I think. It looks agreeable, like in terms of favorable. Baker Road kind of looks like there's a little river running through it.
So you could have a wetland.
Some terrain issues.
Is that the one where they would have to group like three? Was Baker Road the one? There's one of them where there were 3 leftover parcels from, that could be
They were
Allen
gonna
Road
combine
too, that they were gonna
have to combine into one to
potentially.
get something
don't-
buildable.
Or is that, there's 2 that conservation has their eye on and,
It's-
or would potentially, and then.
Yeah, Baker Road.
Is the one with maybe this would work if the Board of Health bought in.
Yeah, but I mean,
Yeah.
I looked at it, it's, that there's some work there and probably conservation and grade issues. They probably can build it up on the high, but you're right on what looks like drops off to be.
Yeah.
You know,
There's probably
so-
a reason they didn't build it.
Sure, exactly. I mean, we're dealing with the leftovers, so, but just out of curiosity,
Oh, it's
to
awesome
see
that
who
you
else
buy it.
might have like issues with it. So, but Lancaster Road, it's right there on the corner. It's a nice home site. I mean, I don't know what it does in the back. I didn't walk it or anything like that, but I might eventually. I didn't go by Gates Pond, but that looks like a big parcel. And I don't know, I'm gonna go by that too. But I was
Yeah, I think
excited,
they were-
so I'm
yeah.
like, oh, let me go see.
Yeah, and that would just depend on whether conservation was okay with building on the front part of it. And,
Yeah.
so that would be a conversation we'd have to have with them.
Because, and I don't know how this works, but the chapter land, I don't know if you can, I know in other places you can reserve a certain amount of the land to build on, and then restrict the remainder of it. So you can kind of have both. I don't know if that's a thing in here or not, but something, the 60, I don't.
61A?
Yes. So, if they had any kind of concerns, maybe we could throw that in there. I don't know if who
Yeah.
else has any feeling on that, homeowner, Habitat, or whomever.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have to, at some point, have maybe a joint conversation with
Concom.
conservation.
Yeah, to figure out exactly.
Whether they just want that left or whether it would be possible to go in that direction.
Yeah.
But, I mean, really for this year, I think one viable
One-
property.
one at a time.
We'll figure out the one.
I
and
mean,
then we'll
I'm
go from
just
there.
thinking, like, do they have a problem with Lancaster Road? Have we even asked them about any of these yet?
Lancaster Road seems like a viable, because they were looking at it before, my guess is this is a viable, I would.
I
think
mean,
that-
Concom, like,
I don't
it's-
think they're
It wasn't on
involved
the
in this
list
one.
of
This
Concom.
would have been a tax title, strictly tax title.
Just
The
tax
other-
title?
The other
Okay.
conservation, I think, already has somewhat of a claim on.
okay,
But,
okay.
like I said, we'll
Yep.
follow up on that, but right now, I think.
You're right,
we
that
need
one
to
isn't Concom on
Go
here.
for Lancaster Road.
Yeah.
And what, if the town were to transfer that parcel, how much,
What value?
well, the amount of, I mean, once it's transferred, how much control do we have over what happens with it, right?
I
And
think
how,
as a Habitat property, I mean, I think you give it to Habitat, and then Habitat has rules.
right, and I guess
stays,
I'd want to make, we'd want to make sure to kind of go over those, because I don't know if that
Yeah.
includes, for instance, affordability in perpetuity on it, for instance.
Feel like it does, but.
Okay, but we should totally
because
make
they
sure.
can't get the home and then sell it for.
Right,
Yeah,
you know,
that's-
and what
yeah.
the,
That's
I
kind of
want
like,
to say it does, but I
yeah,
don't
I'm pretty sure.
remember.
yeah, I don't remember those
For
details, and
sure.
obviously, when we've got plenty of time to get
and
that information from them.
Carolyn actually said she would come in and come to town meeting for us too, because I would
Oh,
assume that is
excellent.
also, those would be questions that would also
That
come
would,
up at town
yes,
meeting.
that would be great.
And we'll want to think about our strategy, and I think we would want him
Awesome.
to come also and give a spiel about what it is that they do and how they proceed with it, and answer any questions, so that we're not caught flat-footed at town meeting.
What kind of pre-work marketing should we be thinking about so people see this coming?
Like I said, the first thing was figuring out who within town government we
Right.
needed to talk to. We may want to put together a fact sheet for that. There's also the coffee talk beforehand, where we're gonna want to probably have something prepared for that. That's the one right before
Yeah,
town meeting.
yeah. And do we have to ask FinCom and the select board to have opinions?
This is CPA money, so no.
Ah.
But they can have opinions.
They could have opinions.
I mean.
You could certainly,
I mean.
we could certainly
support
get,
for- I mean,
we
that-
could
that-
certainly gain support and ask FinCom, for their support.
Mhm.
I don't know that that's been the process with CPA up until this point. It's
Right,
to
and
get
I
the
would-
recommendation from CPA, and then, but with the textile property involved, that's probably a good idea.
I like the sound of that because as a voter, when you go to town meeting, everything seems to pass when all of the other committees.
When those pieces align,
yes.
it's much easier.
Yeah,
And may
when it-
cut down on some of the questions.
Mhm.
Because somebody will stand up and be like, well, what does FinCom think about this use of town
Exactly.
resources, right? that
And
may-
if they don't have an opinion, then it's like, doesn't seem as transparent.
Yeah,
I guess maybe that's not the word, but.
yeah. As above board.
Yes.
Like if they're like, we haven't had a chance to look at this yet, that doesn't.
Yeah, it
that
doesn't
get
sound like
done
it's
well.
been properly vetted or.
Yeah,
or
and that was
whatnot.
another reason why I asked Kristen, because my guess is we're gonna wanna step through and these,
Yeah.
Concom and FinCom and whoever else, and say, this is what our goal is, this is what our intention is, and
Yeah.
have that conversation, and make sure there are no roadblocks,
Yeah, like-
maybe Board of Health,
Yeah, lay it out.
Oh, Board of
make sure
Health,
all
that's a
done.
good one.
yeah, planning.
Yep, yeah. Mhm.
um,
Yeah.
So, yeah, let me see what she comes back with as a process, and then we'll start hitting that.
This is January, February, March.
Yeah, it's gonna come
April.
up fast.
So that's 3.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
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 Warrant closes,
We have a placeholder on
we
the
have a
warrant,
place, but when?
and I gave Kristen the properties that were potentially on the table.
Right,
Um,
but we'll have to, but we need to change the wording, right, to be for a specific property?
I don't know.
Okay,
Once
that's
again,
another
this
Kristen
is-
question.
this is a
Sorry, right,
legal-
these are all
This is
the-
legal.
Right.
Is
Yeah.
gonna tell
Okay.
us how to
Yeah.
proceed with that language.
Yep.
Um, So that's, we need that probably before anything, and
Okay.
Kristen to like say, this is what we need to do to make this fly. Because I don't remember us doing anything like this. We normally just hold on to things and.
And they
Yes.
accrete, yes, exactly.
And the thing with tax title, I mean, normally when they're transferred, isn't there something that it has to be put out to bid? Is that any kind of an issue?
I don't
Like-
think so, but once again, I think that's also a legal question, but I don't think, in this case, it is property that the town owns, that it would be putting to a charitable purpose to the benefit of the town for the housing trust, so I would be surprised if we would have to go through any sort of, and we would be actually deeding the property over, so it wouldn't be like we would be building on it and have to do prevailing wage and all of that sort of nonsense. It would be, but.
But
yeah,
another
these are
taxpayer may
all-
say, well, if that property's worth, it's assessed at 250, I really think that on the market it could get, or at bid, it could get 500, so,
Um,
I don't know, I'm just,
yeah. Like I said, we have to go to.
other
My
tax
guess is
title
if we-
things I've seen have, like, been required to go to bid, so, but, I mean, that may have already been answered, I'm just.
Yeah, and that may not, my guess is that this property is here because it wasn't buildable by a developer or by somebody else.
Right.
That it does not meet the requirements of
It-
Berlin's.
You can't put a McMansion on it, so
So nobody wants it.
wanted it.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but once again,
But right,
these are
these are
all-
good questions.
I'm guessing
all legal
that.
questions.
It's, how big is it? It's under 2 acres.
Yes, so you can't.
It's an acre, not even an acre and a half, 1.44 acres, so, and there's houses on either side, so I'm guessing there's like placement of well and septic that might be issues, so I don't know how we handle that these days, but.
This would be a friendly build because we're doing it.
What happens if like there are water and septic, like once it's transferred? Or do they do that work in advance? Are they gonna confirm it's
I
actually?
would
Right, that's
assume
another, right.
Before
well-
they build, they're gonna confirm. that
Well, certainly
it's
before they
viable
build,
for-
but
yeah.
before they,
Well,
like
that
if
would
we
all
were
have
to
be
transfer it to them,
approved still
and then
by
it couldn't.
Yeah.
the Board of Health or state or how?
Yeah,
I mean, you need a perk, you need.
Right, but if we
Clean
transfer
water.
it, but if we transfer it to them and then it doesn't perk, again, that goes back to what their process is. Does it automatically revert to the town if it is unbuildable?
yeah.
Right, or are we, or do they have
And how-
permission to sell it to fund, to fund their, I don't know, right, but I do know
I know.
what happens, right?
Yeah.
It could be anything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no assumptions. And friendly build, I mean, it can't go too far beyond Board of Health regulations.
Yeah, but it can be under the 2 acres, it can,
You're right, right.
all those things.
I mean, the frontage is good, it's nice rectangular lot, grade looks good, so. Sorry. Don't know what that
So a
is
lot of
for.
questions to work out. Hopefully Kristen will have some information for us before the next meeting. And then we can start ticking them off and maybe
Hmm.
get, I can ask, if you have a list of questions for me to ask Carolyn, just send them over and I will
Okay.
send them over to her.
Yeah, so I'm just curious, this goes around the bidding process too. Because I don't want somebody to stand up and,
Yeah.
We've had people stand up at town meeting before about property issues that have just totally sent everything sideways, so.
Okay. So we're gonna have a busy couple months.
Yeah. But so
But it'd be
exciting.
cool.
It would be really neat.
I just want to mention, we did the letter of support for Josefa for the accessory dwelling workshop grant. So hopefully,
It got through, I think.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, that's all set to go. I also got support of Grafton, Auburn, Upton kind of pulled through last minute, and so did Mendon. So kind of got everybody's like green light on it, which I'm excited for. And I guess like my next thing will be just to talk to everybody and seeing how we can because my first workshop that I'm planning on doing is going to be February, and like where to do it and how to have the general public and have these different towns come in. And because I know you were just talking about how like you were in that workshop or the meeting where they were talking about ADUs and bylaws. So that will be very exciting, and the misconceptions of affordable housing. So that's the next thing on the list with that. So kind of to educate the general public on ADUs, but also affordable housing misconceptions and affordable housing like questions that people have, like what is affordability? Like 80% AMI, a lot of us are making 80% AMI and can't afford things and things along that line and going towards it. So yeah, that's the update on that. Yeah. So I'm planning on, I think, 3 workshops, and then towards the end of it, there's going to be like an end of the year booklet or a how-to best practices sort of thing.
Now, when do you find out if you?
I think we're good to go because there was no like objection. I think the only objection that there was I think someone was trying to do like a Milltown caucus thing. That was the only objection that they had. What they had questions on, and they were like, okay, how are we supposed to do it? There was like no selectmen approval, and then it turned out that I think the town, was in, I forgot what town it was. It was like, it's like southeast Massachusetts area, like in that little space, and there was like 2 people running the town, so it was like really hard getting the selectmen to like approve on it. So they approved that one, I think. But when am I gonna hear back? I think it's all set to go, but I'll confirm that with Connor. Yeah.
And this grant is from
DLTA. So that's the
Department
sorry,
of-
that is the district local technical assistance. Yeah. So I requested 19,750. Yeah. I can end up sending you guys after this meeting, like, I guess I would love input on it, but like the timeline of how I'm thinking of setting up the workshops.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah, and I mean, I want this to be a dialogue between all the housing trusts, and I would love that. And I know you guys are very proactive compared to the other housing trusts. And I love it. Lisa was the first one that was like, yes, here. I loved it. I was like, yes, I have one town.
Boylston just enacted the CPA, and there I heard rumor of a housing trust starting there. So
Mm.
very close to home.
Yeah.
I didn't know, what is it? I think Upton is like, they have their housing trust, but they think they want to do like a how-to guide or something that they were talking about too. Upton's interesting.
How to,
Like how to, like with the affordable housing trust and,
like, how to use the Affordable Housing Trust to
yeah.
support affordable housing.
Excuse me. So to support affordable housing, and they're going in with like a proposal and everything. So that's there. Yeah. So I don't know. What's gonna be. And I think after that's done, I guess a little far-fetched, but I'm thinking of perhaps starting regional dialogues with the region, or like housing trusts with each other, to try to see what we all do. Because I know, for example, like Mendon's doing something similar where they're having they have a tax invaded property, and they're trying to use Habitat for Humanity, similar, and they ended up just applying for a mass housing partnership grant for technical assistance to try to see how that could be used. So kind of similar, but not similar, but kind of, I guess, to create dialogue that way. That's something that I'm thinking maybe next year we could do. I'll be a part of and apply for grants and see if there could be dialogue within each other's housing trusts. I think that would be great.
I know I had talked to you also about doing sort of how the pieces work together. Like all of the pieces in town, housing trust planning,
Yes,
housing
yes,
partnership, all
yes.
of that.
And then I think Scott was going to be in touch with you with the different summaries and everything, right? Because we were supposed to like do like the website thing with how does the planning board go and how does these different, I guess, bodies of government go and how they relate to each other. Yes, I do recall that. And
Did he say something about getting you summaries? Because I don't think summaries exist. I think that was part of the problem.
yeah, summaries don't exist, but I think I think in one of the emails you said that he was going to like be in touch with me.
I was talking to you anyways, and he was supposed to reach out to you about that.
Yes.
But you will have to talk to people to put together summaries.
Yes.
Like,
Yes. No. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So I was going to. Yes, that's what I was going to say.
So
Sorry.
he never actually touched base.
He didn't touch base with me yet,
Okay.
which I'm waiting on.
So don't wait on Scott
Okay.
then. Just forge forward.
And the idea, this would be like
This
potentially
is-
like on the website
Yeah.
as a
Yeah.
public
So we
resource,
can-
so all of us.
So like I think
can-
what I'm visioning is, so I guess I'll go with what my original vision was because I was waiting for him to. Sorry.
No.
So I was waiting on, okay, so like the website's there, and then we have the Affordable Housing Trust website, and then it could be like, okay, planning board, click here, this is what it is, and then it could be like Mass Housing Partnership, what they are, and a little blurb about that. But if you would like to know more information, you can go to their website.
Yeah.
Kind of a thing. I mean, I'm still trying to get. I'm gonna do the reset password tonight and see if.
Just
And there are probably limits to how much you can do on that website.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that.
Yeah.
But even, I mean, worst case
Environment,
scenario, a PDF that people
Yeah.
can download to explain.
And then I
the
was thinking
relationships
like
between all these
CHAPA, Mass
organizations.
Housing Partnership, like what is? There's just so much like resources. Yeah. Yeah.
And we do need, like, just in general, a list of resources.
Exactly.
Right, that sort of parallel, if
Yeah.
you are,
Yeah.
if you need affordable housing, or here is what
Yeah.
would qualify you for affordable housing, and here are places you can go.
Yeah, because
to.
I'm doing something similar, or Grafton's asked something
Yeah.
similar, so I guess I could
Yeah.
do something parallel to both of that then. Okay, perfect. Well, excuse me, perfect. I'm like.
Yeah, because the resources of where to go to apply to see if you qualify, that's like the cloud, the bubble somewhere over here. Like,
Yeah.
where do you
Yeah.
get that link?
Yeah,
So,
And what, like, probably there are agencies that serve Berlin that don't serve Grafton.
Yeah.
Like, you can't
Yeah.
just,
Yeah.
you can't
Yeah.
just scatter
It-
shot to
it's-
all, to
Yeah,
any
I know,
housing.
of course.
Yeah, well, no, I mean,
Yeah.
not you, but like any
Yeah.
person who's like, I don't know.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course. Yeah.
definitely.
And then.
There's a lot of different regions that,
Mhm.
some are bigger, some are smaller.
Okay, I'm gonna try to reset my password tonight.
That's my first go-to, and if that
'Cause
doesn't
I've been-
happen, then we'll pester Civics Plus, but I feel like I fumbled my way through, and that might have been how I did it.
Okay, 'cause
So
I'm
that
like-
is that is what we're aiming for.
I was like looking and I'm like, I cannot find the password anywhere. I swear I was not given the password, and I'm like putting my email in, and then it's like, put your password in, and then I ended up emailing, and I'm like,
I think there's a forgot my password
Okay.
link.
Okay, good to know.
The SHI additions, has that been submitted?
So that has, I had to go through with Fiona, and she ended up sending me an entire, because she said, Fiona from Grafton, so she had an entire like appendix and everything, so I finally just got the guide from her, so that will be submitted, because she ended up going through, she was like, there's like a memo that you have to put in with it, she said, and everything along that line. So she did like a whole, she's like, okay, Jasifa, I got you. So once she
Okay.
sends that, she sends like this, like, I guess, guide to do it. So then I'll be able to submit it that way.
Because I thought it was really that sheet, which had building permit dates.
So that's
it
what
was
I
just more
So that's what I thought.
data
so.
entry. No,
That's what I thought so, but she said that I have to put like a memo in, and then I have to put in orders from the town and everything along that line. I just did a meeting with her like this Monday.
And Fiona's from Grafton.
Yeah, she's the town
You know,
planner.
Stephanie might. Okay.
And then I talked with Stephanie, and
Okay.
then she said she said that Fiona might be better in getting in touch with it. So I don't know. So she said we can work through this one together, because I need to submit some for Grafton as well.
Uh-huh.
So that's why I was like, okay, this is, yeah. So that's the reason why I'm like, I don't know.
Interesting.
Maybe
Okay.
I could submit it in that way and see if it goes through.
Yeah.
I
Or
don't know.
call, who is it needs to go to?
It needs to go to, what is that one called? The new office now.
Oh,
EEDOC.
whatever that is now.
D-
Housing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
At
it needs
at
to-
Augustus.
Yeah, it needs to go there, but she said that she has like, it needs to have like a memo, and then it needs to have the sheet, and then it needs to have like what you're
Wow.
putting in and everything.
This sounds like a prime area for simplification.
That's what I was like confused at, because I thought you just filled a sheet in and that's what it was, which I
Mhm.
can do that.
I would, yeah.
Maybe,
I mean,
maybe I
Maybe
should
do
just,
that first and
Okay,
then.
maybe put the memo in and then put the sheet in and then.
I
see-
would complete the sheet.
Okay. 'cause-
Has that been done?
Yes, that's been done.
The
and
sheet's complete?
Yes, the sheet's completed.
Good.
But I was just like waiting for her because she said that she was like, maybe, you know what, I'm gonna try to put the sheet in. I'll do it and
I
let's
mean,
see.
they'll tell you if you're doing
Yes.
it wrong.
They're very good at that.
Very clear about it. You did
Yeah, I
this
would go
wrong,
to
we
the
need
source
X, Y, or
and,
Z.
and
then
try
go
to
from
give
there.
them what you have, and
Okay.
then maybe
'Cause
they'll
you've
give you
given me
the
the-
streamlined,
yeah.
shortcut version of.
Yeah.
Because
I mean,
this
maybe
is
Grafton's-
also a new, so they may be changing or arranging what they need.
Because
to.
that's what Fiona said. They said that she like, I don't know. Okay, so
Yeah,
I
they
think,
may recognize the
Okay,
complexity of the old or the.
Because I saw the sheet and it didn't look complex at all. It looked
It
like you
doesn't.
put everything in and then you put the.
I was about to do, and I'm like, well, I don't have some of the. You're dealing with the different departments, the
Yeah.
building permit dates and
Yeah.
such, and things like that.
So that's why I was like trying to get all that in and then just put it in and then she did this entire. I don't know. I'll just put it in. and then-
Good. So you have that.
I do. I have all of that. I was
Nice.
just like going to put it in order and then just put it in. So okay, I'll do that.
See what happens.
If it doesn't happen, it doesn't
You know,
happen.
throw the spaghetti on
Yeah.
the wall.
I mean, the other thing is you want to like have a contact there.
Yeah.
So that's one
Yeah.
way to get a contact is to screw something up.
Exactly.
And then you have this person that you go to if they're useful and helpful. Then
Yeah.
you'll have a person who
Yeah.
can ask those questions next
Yeah.
time.
Maybe I'll like before sending the sheet, I'll send it to Stephanie and see if she's like good to go with it, and then go from there. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, if Stephanie already referred you to Graph, just send it.
I think I'll just send
in.
it over and see what happens. Okay. Sounds
And
good.
go to the source, and like
Yeah.
Lisa said, then you'll have a contact.
Yeah, that's smart. Yeah, I'll
Like
do
a
that.
direct contact instead of. I mean, maybe Grafton has some other
They have-
complication or something
they-
that
they-
is specific to them.
I don't get why there's so many complications with it. but
Yeah,
was
I like that
oh,
idea.
Because
Let's do that.
yeah, it's
So
big
what's the,
government. It's-
where is it being submitted to?
Department
Oh,
of
there's-
hold on,
there's a
environment,
new name.
living community something. Hold on.
EDOCE. I'm still trying to figure out all the letters everywhere, and then they just changed it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, I can,
there's
if I
a
have
new-
that much, I can Google it and see what I
Um,
get.
The person heading up that particular is at Augustus.
That I wrote that down. I was
So,
I
um,
figure I can. That
yeah.
was my
But
my cross check.
All of them are four-letter things.
Right.
and So, yeah.
Wait a minute.
Okay, Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities. I don't know why they changed it, but that's what it is. So it's EOHL,
It was combined with something else before.
Department of Housing and I think it was DL.
This was a Healy.
It was Massachusetts
Initiative.
Department of Housing and Community Development. It was Massachusetts Department of Housing and Community Development. They changed that to Housing and Livable Communities.
It's a friendlier name.
Yeah.
EOHO?
EO, yeah, HL. EOHL.
L?
No,
Yeah.
but no C. So it's only
No,
we only get four
okay,
letters.
okay.
I know.
No,
Community
it's
living.
EOHLC, yes. There we go.
EO.
HLC.
Yeah. Thought there was a D in there. Maybe that's the old one.
There was a D and there was the Department of Housing and
Okay.
Urban or whatever. It was just
This
on
is
there.
why we need a website.
Exactly.
All
Right
these
there,
things.
right there.
Just a list of all the acronyms.
Just a little bit
that-
of, yeah, that will be, okay.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Paperwork acronyms, funding acronyms, technical support acronyms.
Yes.
I'm still
Right?
getting into the grant applicant, like
The-
acronyms, because I was like, what is DHL, whatever that was. I was
Yeah.
like, I don't know what this is.
All right. Awesome.
Okay. Do we have anything else?
We had discussed the possibility or the idea that we should have, this body should have representation on?
That is on the warrant.
Aha, okay, so that has been submitted as a thing.
On the warrant, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so question.
Yep.
So I'm almost done with the story map for Berlin, for our housing production plan. I need images.
Okay, what kind of images?
Like, I guess nice pictures of Berlin and
Houses?
Houses, I don't know. Should I just go and take pictures?
Let
of
me
them?
go, let me see what I have from Marty. I
Okay.
have a bunch of pictures from Marty.
Okay,
Um,
perfect.
Good
Because
source.
if you guys want to take a look at it,
Well, yeah, I mean,
I mean, I don't know if you have the time, but
you should totally send it.
yeah, okay, I'll send it over. Let me know what you all think. But I want to obviously simplify it and do some more visual things with it. But
Yeah.
I got the most of the data and everything down with it. And then, yeah, I just want to add in pretty pictures and make it visually very appealing. And then that will also be added in with the website and then going from the little, yeah. So, yeah.
And I know they are looking at updating the website in some way too, soon. but
Perfect, yeah.
I don't know what that will entail. I don't know what Civics Plus has done going forward, whether it's,
I mean, I've been trying to go on for the
Yeah.
past month, and I was like, I'm gonna try that.
I have something in the back of my head that I'm wondering, and maybe you have insight on it. But the way that our housing inventory is counted, little inflatedness, that concerns me that with the housing crisis, if the state, I don't know who says how it's counted exactly, but if they change their mind and say, oh, now we want real numbers, like, what do we really look like?
We aren't still that bad, I think, actually. I think me and Tim were talking about it, and
I'm
So-
not sure what I'm not.
Well, I mean, there are 5 or 6 properties on that list that we know are no longer affordable, right? The list is not, you know,
But
it contains
also,
things that have been affordable.
25% of something is affordable,
And then
then the
there's-
whole number is counted. That's actually, the other thing, you know, you can ride that out too, but,
Right, but if they decide to change the way they do the math on that
Yes.
25%,
That's
what
what
does that
I'm-
mean? But of course, we would be, I mean, everybody would be screaming so loudly.
Mhm.
Our tiny voice would be lost.
Mhm.
okay. Well,
think.
that's also, yeah.
but there's a housing crisis, and,
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah.
so, I wonder what they'll do to manipulate so that towns have to have more
My sense is
affordable
that,
housing.
at least at first, I think you're looking at carrots as opposed to sticks.
Like, I mean, the fact that CPA money is bucketed for housing in the first place. That feels like a way to encourage towns
Yeah.
to take reasonable local steps
Okay,
before.
good.
That's, I
I
mean,
just-
our government expert potentially has other things to say, but,
You know, I mean, that is one of the things. There's also a housing bond bill that, I mean, who knows what's gonna happen with it, because right now, all that bond bills are like pretend money, but,
Yeah.
there is, that's one of her highest priorities is the housing bond bill.
No, that was good though. Carrots, carrots instead of sticks.
I
first.
think-
I'm good with
I
that.
think
I
at
think that's
least
good for a while.
To
But
but-
also-
start,
yeah,
the-
but also, as you
certainly,
said, yeah.
you know,
if that's one thing, then every other town is going to be screwed, basically.
if we're, I mean, if we're faultily putting in information, then that's one thing, but if we're doing what we're told and our numbers are approved, then there's no reason to think that they won't continue to be approved. I don't think.
right, but there isn't
It's-
there's not an audit process, and right, there's not an easy way, it doesn't, for us to say, this actually isn't 40B anymore, right? Because that isn't typically how it goes, right? Things stay.
Yeah.
But then, yeah, if that's the case, then a lot of other towns are going to have the entire
Oh, yeah.
issue because they're housing production plans and to get these
Okay. no, I
grants and
just-
things. No, I'm just, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I woke up one night and I thought, What if, like, the bottom fell out?
I do the same thing sometimes.
What? No, I mean, I ask the question and get the answer. That's
I
good.
think, yeah, I think we don't want to necessarily buy trouble or open
No.
worm cans, so.
No, but I just,
No, I completely, yeah. We also are in such a place that we could take some hits
And still
and
be.
still be okay.
Okay, yeah.
But also, I think, I mean, I guess looking into my experience and looking into other places, I think Berlin does a really good job with the diversity of affordable housing units and housing in general, which is really rare, but also for, I hate to say it, but a small town, that's beautiful. Like, I talk about this all the time, and I think about it, and I like actually like vision Berlin, and I'm like, that's actually really like, yeah. So that's one thing that I look at, and I think the diversification that Berlin has compared to other places in the housing stock that it has, it's actually pretty good. So not too worried that way. Yeah, because you guys have like cooperative housing, and there's like condos, and there's like housing, and just like that's what it is, and there's like senior housing. So there's a diversity.
Yeah,
That's,
and I think, just our long-term goal, hopefully we are not going to continue to lose things off of that list.
Right, I mean, that's,
yeah.
Well,
That is
that
our,
would be
that is
ideal.
our,
kind of
mean,
our
if we can-
job
our-
here.
we have
Goal,
sort
we
of
don't,
two that are,
you
sort of close, and if we can figure out how to,
Those two are in the Village Lane part, right?
Yeah.
yeah, but I would assume that with the housing market, I was thinking we were probably okay with those being sold relatively quickly, no?
not as 40B. I mean, we've consistently had trouble
Selling them as,
selling, I mean, getting people into 40B units in Berlin is hard. I mean, the range, right, to qualify, right, the
Is
window
narrow. Yeah.
is
Yeah.
tiny, and it's gotta be a perfect storm because of the lack of public transportation. You've gotta have a job
Very close.
close, right? And so, it's,
so do we need to be concerned about those units?
I mean, I don't know what the banks are doing, right? In term, what their process is, because they certainly don't care about 40B, right? It's actually to their interest. I mean, they have to sell at auction. And they can't, I mean, they
Are
can't
those units
sell.
in foreclosure right now?
No.
There's
You're saying the banks
There's the condo fees. but-
Oh.
I thought there was a short.
There's the condo fees are outstanding, but I don't believe there's any sort of foreclosure going on.
Okay.
they are both potentially at risk for that.
Well,
And so,
But they're being marketed now.
correct,
Correct.
but neither one of them, the homeowners are not invested in that process. So there are challenges, right, for those types of things. So,
We aren't ready yet to.
well, right. And hopefully it'll be it takes forever for a bank to do anything anyway. I mean, it just does. And maybe, obviously this is also the slow season. And so we see what happens in the summer. The next month, things
It's
pick up.
yeah, it's gonna pick up within
Yeah.
the next month and a half. Yeah.
Yeah.
so how does someone in that small window know? About
They're
this.
listed.
I
With
would SEB or?
there's RICO, yeah. There's
I
an
think I haven't
individual
actually
who-
looked. Let's see, to see. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not just, it goes on
It goes on a list.
a list, and people looking for affordable housing.
They're usually even on like Redfin and stuff, and they literally will say this is for affordable housing, and you have to meet these income thresholds and really go forward with that.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean, depends on who's listing it and who's the agent that's listing it. But yeah, sometimes, I mean, when I was looking for houses, it like literally was like, this is the income bracket and this is what it is. Like that
Oh,
was
interesting.
It was listed on Redfin, which maybe that could be done, and then it literally says on the description of these are the criterias you have to
Uh-huh.
meet. So sometimes like, oh my god, this is too good to be true, and then
Yeah,
my
yes.
realtor is always like, no, Jasifa, no, like this is what it is. And I'm like,
Yeah, and that might be another thing that at some point we have somebody come in and talk to us about how they list these, how they market these, just so we know.
Yeah.
Just
I
So
an
they're being
educational
marketed
sort of-
now.
Yeah, that's
And
what.
Yeah.
Don't they only have to be marketed so long?
Yes.
90 days?
But how are they being marketed? Is it
So-
like in Redfin or is it like
I don't-
yeah?
I mean,
There's-
it's
It
easy
might-
enough
All I
to search
have
online.
is things from
Town,
the
right?
town.
Yeah.
The emails from the town,
Right.
so.
So marketed, is there a realtor?
That's what is it?
There's a guy who,
It's 9 Village.
9 Village Lane is one of the,
Yeah.
Because I'm not sure that, was it 29? I don't know that that one is actually on the market yet.
It's not for sale on Zillow. Yeah. Because I know they literally have like Redfin and Zillow listings where they'll be like, okay, this is for sale, but this is a 40B, Chapter 40B property, et cetera,
Mhm.
et cetera. They go on with it, and I'm like, oh, okay, not for me. Move on.
Maybe that should be on our webpage.
Yeah.
I had put up,
That's
one of the
actually-
ones that is up there, one of the.
This says the Zillow listing for 9 Village Lane says auctions foreclosed. It says off market.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because and then.
So I don't know, I mean,
Is it on MLS? Like if it's on MLS?
I don't know what the
Huh.
details.
Well, if it's foreclosed, then it's not gonna be on MLS, because it has to go to auction.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't have any idea.
How that's being done.
I have no idea. Yeah.
Huh.
How it's being marketed.
I feel like Scott used to might have known. I can reach out to people and
Yes,
see.
might have.
Yeah. But the thing is, even if it is, we
Even if it
can't
is, we
do
don't, yeah, we
anything
can't do
about it
anything
yet.
about it. Yeah.
We went for the projects that we did because they were things we could
Doable on a
do.
timeline that was reasonable, yeah. So,
But our long-term focus would be to be able to step in if we needed to, but we
Right.
also don't want to own things either.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
town
yeah,
does
yeah,
not
yeah,
want
yeah.
to own
No,
things.
the
We do
town does not want
be
to own
landlords.
things.
We do not want to be.
No.
but potentially
I
the down payment assistance
That's
piece,
could
if
be a
we
thing.
can, that's.
that going,
Get
yeah.
that going.
Or somehow, connect
maybe like
the
yeah.
pieces, with, if it has to be someone local, then who in our community?
Does it have to be local? I mean,
No.
it's
Well,
the
even
house
it
is
says
local.
that
Well,
it
like
does
we
not.
said, with no public transportation,
Right.
fitting within that window, you need to be
Right.
with also making
operating
the,
very
yeah,
close to
Yeah.
home.
The AM.
That's all. I don't mean
Yeah,
has
yeah.
to.
Yeah,
but,
yeah, yeah.
um, It works.
The
that way.
I mean, the best window, at least what we found was the best market for those houses was newly divorced people.
Huh.
Because because with the 40B restrictions,
Yeah.
is you have to be a new homeowner, you have these asset restrictions, blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah, but those are waived if you are newly divorced.
That's what happened.
What's
too.
considered
Divorced
newly
home.
divorced?
Like a year, 2 years,
Yeah.
like it's
So,
shortish.
That's what
Right.
happened because I mean I'm really
Just
close
with
with my,
homemakers.
I'm really close with my
Yeah.
realtor, and I always just look at like what can I invest in properties. I don't know, but she literally is like, yeah, I'm trying to find 40B properties for this newly divorced couple,
Mhm.
and this is what's going on right
Yep.
now.
Oh.
And she's like a travel nurse, and she was like really going on about it, but like it has to be the certain income criteria, Jasifa, and she just was ranting on, but. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I've heard. The newly divorced thing.
That gets you at that
Yeah.
and older individuals,
Mm-hmm.
Retired folks
Can have-
that have more assets than working folks.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's actually in
Oh.
the paperwork for the down payment.
And so that's potentially I mean, not that we need more older folks in town, but people who are here,
Mhm.
potentially, if living in their current house is not an option.
Because sometimes people want to downsize.
Yeah.
And like they need like a 2-bedroom condo or
But-
something, yeah.
This is all blue skying, because we have no idea what's going on, and we can't do anything about it
We
in
can't
any
do
case.
anything about it yet.
So.
Well, that's what I was
right.
But we
asking. I'm like,
will-
is it online? If we need a, if we
Right,
need a
and the
buyer,
answer is-
I could like contact my realtor. and be
Contact
like,
a realtor.
Do you have? I mean, because she does.
Well, that's the
do
thing
it.
is,
I
I'm
mean,
yeah,
thinking
she
about
has-
it this minute, because we
She-
can't financially
yeah,
do
'cause
it.
we
We can't
but
financially do it.
'Cause
the
she-
pieces,
yeah.
like the brokering of it.
Yeah, because she
so to
has that
speak.
pool of people that she does have people that are in the 40B threshold and things like that and that
Mhm.
qualify, and she works with first-time home buyers. So I was like, maybe it could be like, hey. But no, it looks like the house, it's not even listed.
Just,
Alrighty, well.
so who knows? I mean, maybe they've sold it,
And
and
then
I don't
maybe
know.
something we also work with realtors in town.
Yeah.
That, I like that idea.
Yeah.
Actually, making sure they will launch the website. We have a launch party. That, but like letting
Yeah.
letting realtors know that here's some resources, and
Exactly. And
you know,
local
that
businesses
would be,
that
you
way.
know.
Yeah, that's actually such a.
and we
yeah.
have this down payment program, and reach out like to
Do
DCU and to Clinton Savings Bank, kind of thing.
Yeah. Like local banks and
Yeah,
DC.
local, the
yeah,
local,
that's
the local folks.
The local lenders are.
Yeah.
But we have to set up some stuff first.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, set us up. and
That's
then-
okay. Brainstorming's part of the.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I think this is great. Yeah, this is great. Yeah. But I will put that SHI request in then. 'Cause
Yeah.
yeah, I'll
Let's
do
just
that.
get that off the list.
And then
see
get
what
that off the
happens.
list, and then yeah, I'll send you guys the PDF then. Like go from there.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And then send that over. And if you can please send me over images, I would really appreciate it.
Okay, it may take me a few days because
No
I get on a
problem.
plane at 5 tomorrow morning. So
Enjoy.
That said, if anybody has anything else,
No.
No.
Sorry.
All right.
Yes.
Motion to adjourn.
Aye.
Seconded, or whatever we need to do.